Just because God made a promise, it doesn't mean that you're walking in it. There's a difference between hearing the promise and then possessing it. So have you ever felt like you're living beneath what God said you could have? Like you're saved, but you aren't really free, or you have abundance because that's what He promised, but you still live with the fear of not having enough? Or you've been called, but you're unsure and you're a little hesitant? In Joshua 13, God tells Joshua, there is still very much land to be possessed. And that verse hit me because how often do we, one, settle for partial victory, and two, leave the enemy with access to steal from us all the things that God has already delivered into our hands? So in this video, we're going to talk about what it means to fully possess God's promises for your life and how things like fear, comfort, and procrastination that create delay can block your inheritance. So the first thing we look at is the fact that God's promises, baby, they are real, but you still have to take hold of them. Remember last week when I said you cannot do God's part, which is make the promise and then make all the crooked paths straight, but He will also not do your part? That will never change. Just like Israel, many of us have been given a prophetic word, a vision, or a calling, but that doesn't mean that we've taken hold of it. In Joshua 13:1, God said to Joshua, listen, Joshua, you're old, but there is still much land to be possessed. So in essence, God was saying to Joshua that time is running out, like all your time running out. God's promises, they have no expiration date. He gave the promise that He made to the generation that was led by Moses, and He fulfilled it with the generation led by Joshua. But while His promises remain, our willingness or hesitation when it comes to acting are things that can delay our access to them. Faith isn't just believing God will do what He said He's going to do. It's moving as though He already has. So the second thing we see is, this question. What is it that's blocking you from possessing the full promise? Is it comfort? Have you gotten so comfortable with almost or just a little bit? Have you settled for what you could comprehend, for what you could understand, rather than what you may deem to be this outlandish promise of God? Is it fair? Some tribes delayed entering the rest of the land and taking hold of the land because they allowed that all too familiar spirit of fear to guide their decisions. Despite all that God had done for them, from the battle at Jericho and having the walls of Jericho come down to defeating one of their most formidable opponents, this tribe of people named Ai, to witnessing the whole sun stand still, the Israelites once again decided to focus on the giants in the land rather than who God is and what He's done and what He's promised to do. So what giants are you allowing to intimidate you to the point that you just given up on your inheritance? And is this delay by procrastination? In Joshua 18:3, Joshua had to ask the Israelites, how long will you wait before taking possession of this land? Procrastination is often seen as just something we do, just to kill time. But truly, many times, it's a sign of spiritual warfare. You see, we deceitfully believe that the enemy cares only about encouraging us to do the wrong thing, the bad thing, the sin thing. But procrastination is a tool that he enjoys because it means we do nothing at all, so we don't even get in his way. But whatever the reason is that you haven't fully embraced all that God has promised, please know that there are consequences. God is infinite. We are finite. And we don't have as much time as we like to think we do. So whether the reason for our delay is embracing fear or comfort, both of these are dangerous to us. Comfort leads to compromise, and fear is just straight across the board damaging. Every single nation that Israel allowed to remain in the land ended up becoming a thorn in their side. who wasn't constantly warring with them, trying to enslave them or capture them, was, on the other hand, leading them into worshiping false gods and adopting pagan practices. The Israelites became so comfortable with the just enough that the generation after them, according to Judges 2 and 10, had no knowledge of God or the things that he had done, because they got so comfortable where they were, they forgot, or they just neglected pursuing the more. The only thing the Israelites caught from that point on was just pure hell. The thing is, partial possession is not the promise. If God promised you peace, joy, purpose, provision, freedom, and favor, which he did, then why are we only walking in one or two or maybe three of those things? I get that all that is ours often requires a fight, because the enemy doesn't roll over so easily, even though he's already been defeated. But it's for that reason alone the fight is fixed, girl. You already win. You don't need to fight for victory, you fight from it. Because Jesus did the hard work of securing the promise, and baby girl, all you got to do is just take hold of it. So I encourage you, ask the Lord today, what area of my life have I stopped short? Where have I settled instead of conquered? Listen, you were not created to live halfway blessed, halfway whole, or halfway in purpose. We ain't doing that in 2025. The promised land, which is everything God has said is yours, guess what? It's still yours. Go get it. Your inheritance is still available to you. God has not, and he will not change his mind about you. So do me a favor, drop in the comments, what's one promise of God that you are reclaiming in this season? And if this word was for you, share it with someone you know who is settling for less than what God said. And then don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications, because this year, we're not just talking about faith, boo. We are walking in it.